My dad was Charles Winston Chapman, known mostly as Chuck. He was on the last basketball team that actually medaled in the Olympics, which is in 1936. Well, my dad played basketball for Victoria, for the Blue Ribbons and the Dominoes for 19 years in the 1930s and 40s. In that time, the team that he played on won the national championship 5 times, which I think is a record still to this day. And basketball was a really big thing in Victoria in those days. In 1936, they did not win the national championship. They lost the final game to the Windsor Fords in Ontario. But the Windsor Fords decided that it would be to their benefit to add some of the good players from the BC area to that team. So my dad and my uncle and Doug Peden, as well as someone from Vancouver, were added to that team. The Olympics, of course, were the 1936 Olympics, so they were in Berlin, and it was the first time that basketball had been included in the Olympics. But because it was the first year, they played outside on a clay court, was a tennis court basically, but it had rained the night before, and I think it was still raining a little bit for that final game, so it was very muddy. Dad made some comments about being up to their ankles in mud, and of course you couldn't dribble the ball, bounce it in the mud, and all of that kind of thing. So it was a bit of a different, we'll call it kind of a game, an airborne game where there was a lot of passing. And the score, the final score of that game was 19-8, which indicates how different the basketball really was for that game. The 2 final teams, of course, were the US and Canada. And my dad always made the comment that he was the tallest player on the Canadian team, but he was the same height as the shortest player on the US team. Well, the significance that still lasts, I think, is that there's never been another Canadian basketball, or men's basketball team for sure, that has medaled in the Summer Olympics. So they're the only team that's ever won a medal.